Today's rather special. I've been given an exclusive invitation to visit a country house deep in the heart of the Cotswolds and to meet the man who has spent the last 30 years creating one of England's most important contemporary gardens. This is an estate of incomparable beauty and purity of purpose. A beacon for all things organic. It's also the passion project of arguably the best royal gardener in history. This is Highgrove House, home to the Prince of Wales, his sanctuary and the outlet for all his gardening aspirations. Of all the views here, so this, I guess, is the one which is the most iconic. The one which people would say, oh, that's Highgrove, I know that time walk. What did it look like when you came here?
Well, it was extraordinary to think about it. It was just a brown path that came across here, went out there, and grass, and a brown path which went down there, and the brown path that went round there. And, you know, there was nothing here at all. The
thing that might surprise a lot of people is how comfortable it feels. It's not over-manicured, over-prinked.
I hate all that. No, I like, as you know, I like working with nature.
Yeah.
But see, I actually planned everything in this myself. I did the whole thing, and I chose all the plants, and I put everything in the wrong place, basically. You know, all the short things at the back, the tall
things at the front. The other thing this garden is big on is axes, vistas, right out the front door, right down to that gladiator along this path.
Well, you see, I just felt when I came here first, one of the things I did begin to realise was it's so flat that it needed vistas in all directions, you know, with eye catchers. Whereas really from going to other people's gardens, you know, looking in books and things, fast, you suddenly get ideas.
Well, you always go, you know, pinch ideas from other people. Yeah. So it's interesting to think that everything we see here is less than 30 years old.
Yes.
The hornbeams on stilts.
Yes. Not the yews.
The yews were
because
here.
they were the only things here.
But not in these strange
No,
shapes.
they were puddings. Just, you know, puddings of golden yew.
Yeah.
And everybody, all the experts said, take them out. Roy Strong said, take them out. Rosemary Berry said, take them out. Everybody.
No, it's not like you not to listen to anybody.
No. But in the end, I don't know why I thought. Well, I thought about it, and then I thought, well, no. But I have a passion for topiary, I hate to tell you. I mean, I have great fun here because I prune an awful lot.
Yeah.
But I have my secateurs and my saw.
Great therapy.
Oh, it's terrific. But I mean, because I planted so many trees out everywhere. Yeah. And so wherever I go and walk now, I'm always sawing off.
Well, that happens, isn't it? The thing about gardens is they don't stand still.
No.
It's not like furnishing a room and it stays and you dust it occasionally. Highgrove is the family home of the Prince, the Duchess of Cornwall, and Princes William and Harry. This Georgian building of neoclassical design was built around 300 years ago. But the house was virtually destroyed by fire at the end of the 19th century and had to be rebuilt, passing into the ownership of Prime Minister Harold Macmillan's son Maurice, before the Prince bought the property in 1980 with a view to creating a future family home in the countryside. You could have chosen any house and land anywhere, so why this one?
The trouble is, you know, I could have gone on for years looking, you know, until, oh, well, I'm not sure about that. We'll see if there's another place. I remember it was like that, trying to find a place for a picnic in the car. Do you remember? Oh, that looks... No, we'll go on a little bit. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
You know you were. You ended up having a picnic where you got at the end.
First place.
So, I don't know, I came to look at this place, and I don't know, I rather fell in love with the trees, funny enough, in the, you know, out here in the fields. I love the light coming in these windows and so on.
But Highgrove 30 years ago was a rather modest property, similar to many country houses found in countless English villages. Fine views across to Tetbury left the house exposed to the open countryside. The Prince turned to one of the country's most respected garden designers of her generation, the then Marchioness of Salisbury. This doyen of the organic movement and custodian of the historic gardens at Hatfield House was initially underwhelmed by Highgrove.
But of course it looked rather bleak, and it was, although it did have trees, it had nothing, no rail garden surrounding it. It was a very simple, classical house, not a particularly interesting one architecturally, but quite attractive and simple, to which he's added a lot, which has improved it enormously.
Where did you start? Which bit first?
Well, it was really the sundial garden, because there was no shelter at all, and there was no seclusion. So we were, in those days, being permanently pursued by the press, who used to turn up down the bottom there with long lenses, or down that end, or even in here. So there was nowhere to sit.
Today, the hedges may have fenced out the paparazzi, but there's an irony here. Now, more people get to see Highgrove than ever before. Last year, His Royal Highness shared the grounds with 34,000 visitors.
Remember when I first started on the garden tours, people were collapsing all over the place and there were no seats. So I felt we must put them in, and this was a present from the Hereford Cathedral stonemason.
Oh, lovely.
I think so, terribly. It's the whole point for me. I love it. To me, it's like it's almost like an exhibition of my paintings. That's the way I look at it. And it's so much more fun if it gives people pleasure.
Do you sort of eavesdrop?
So I keep thinking when I garden, I think about what would it be like for other people as well, you know.
Do you eavesdrop on what they say?
No, well, I have done. Only when they're going round outside the window. Sometimes we have to lie on the floor.
So, was the interest in gardening always there, or was there a kind of moment where you suddenly thought, I really like this?
I think it was always there, really. Although I never did it much, except as a child. We were allowed a little plot, Buckingham Palace, sort of back of the border, growing vegetables and things, my sister and I. But it's not until you have somewhere, obviously, you know, of your own, then it becomes more possible, I think. And then I really was interested, because I wanted to make it more interesting. And I think the thing about this place was that, as I've said often, it was a blank canvas.
Are you good at seeing potential? Do you have vision? Can you see what you can do?
I hope I am, yes, I suppose. But as I say, it was a blank canvas, so then I had to start from scratch.
And so, the Prince and Lady Salisbury's first creation, a south-facing sundial garden. Wrought iron gates came from a reclamation yard.
When did the organic bit seep in, or was that there right from the start? Were you established in organic principles, as it were, and espousing them?
No, well, I mean, I think I've said endlessly that even in the 1960s, when I was a teenager, I hated what was going on in destroying and pulling up and tearing down and destroying all the wild places. It seemed to be going too far. And so many of these things, you know, taken hundreds of years. And what you can destroy in one day, it takes forever to recreate lost habitat. But so I think I also felt increasingly that, you know, the chemical approach and the agri-industrial approach was not something that could ever last. It was, to me, not something that was durable or sustainable in the long run. So it seemed to me the health of the soil was suffering and everything else. So we had to, I felt, adopt a system which understood the need to have a healthy soil. And as I've said before, we have to rediscover the absolute central importance, critical now, urgent importance of working in harmony with nature. We've spent too long ignoring and denigrating her and walking all over her. Look at the result. She comes back and hits us in the teeth, big time.